Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back. We are on the next video now. Now, what we're looking at these, I was looking through the worksheet that we got here, exercise 6.12, questions of rearrange question. Trying to find all like different styles of questions that you could possibly come across on that particular page without going on to the more advanced ones yet. And I found 6 different like styles of questions. The first one was done in the first video, which is the basic one. Now let's have a look at these, see what they can throw up for us. Okay, right. I've got the rules still on the right hand side. Look, identify the actions, rearrange by moving the action in reverse order. Now, in this particular question here, we have to make what the subject? H. So what do? We start at the H. What's been done to the H? It's been time by -5. So that's called the first action. Now, if you look at this 8 here, what's the 8 doing? It's not obvious what the 8 is doing. We know we're multiplying by -5. That minus belongs to the 5, by the way. It belongs to the 5. So we are multiplying by -5 is the first action. What is the 8 doing? Is it adding, minusing? What's it doing there? It is adding. Well done. Because there's an invisible 8 by default is plus anyway. It's a 8, so it's positive. So we are adding the 8. That's the second action. So now, according to our rule, which action shall we start to move first? Second action. So grab the +8, change side, change the sign. -8. So we now have, okay, right. I'm going to have to try to squeeze it in. Let's write it. I'm trying to follow my own rules of trying to keep the equal signs lined up. It's a bit difficult. So a minus 8 is equal to -5 times by h. So a minus 8. Now, what do we need to move now? The time by -5. Not time by 5, time by -5. That comes over, it becomes a divide by -5. The -5 stays the same. So we now have a minus 8 divided by -5 is equal to h. Now that minus sign of the 5 on the bottom can always be moved to the top for tidiness. So you put the minus here, like that, over 5. That's another way of rearranging that equation to make it look more neater. Now if you were to multiply the top now, the minus comes to the top. That's like saying -1 times by a. So that can be again rewritten to be like a more final polished answer would be what? H is equal to -1 times by a is -a. -1 times by -8 is +8. So we'll give you 8 minus a divided by 5. And that's a more nicer way of sitting at the answer. But this is correct here, and that's also correct there. But I would like to leave it like this. It looks more nice and polished mathematically. I'll be happy with that. Good. If you're not happy, say so. We'll stop and do some more example. Okay. Next question. We have to make what the subject in this one? We have to make m the subject. What's been done to the m? It's been, first of all, look at the screen. It's been added by, and then it's been time by 4. First action, second action. Which action shall I move first? You always move the last action in reverse order, as rule number 2 states. Suppose the time by 4 goes over. As the time by 4 goes over the equal sign, it changes. When you change side, you change sign. Divide by 4. So we got now s divided by 4 is equal to, now that the multiply by 4 is gone, the brackets have also gone. They have evaporated. They've gone with the time by 4. They're not needed anymore. Now, what do we move next? We've only got a +4 left. So that was the first action that moves last. So opposite the add 4 is. Now, one thing be careful of here. When we do here, okay, I think I need to change color a bit. Let's go for something like that. So we have s over 4 minus 4 equals m. Now the -4 doesn't join the s on the top of the on the numerator side. Okay, minus 4 has to be a separate entity. You don't just make the line longer and put the minus 4 on top. That is illegal. That is mathematically not allowed. So please do not do that. Okay, are we happy with that? Okay, now, if you look over here, the next question, b equals minus c plus 6. We need to make what the subject? C. So we start with the c. C has been added by 6 and multiplied by minus 1. Okay, now, something that I want to mention, rather than us dealing with dividing by negative numbers and then tidying it up at the end, what we can do, I'll show you a different approach now for this question. Let's multiply it out instead. It's not something which I recommend us do, but in this particular instance, you'll see the wisdom of it in a bit. If you multiply the brackets, what do we get? Minus c, oops, I do a little boo-boo there. Minus 1 times by plus 6 is? Now, because we want to make c the subject and c actually here is negative, we're going to end up dividing by minus 1s. That just, again, as you see from the previous first question, it makes the question look a bit messy. So what we can do, rather than making, let's make minus c positive in the first instance. So let's just swap sides. Let's just swap sides. Move the minus c from the right to the left and the b from the left to the right. And now we have a lovely, beautiful plus c. And we are actually in the same process, we've actually finished the question. There's different idea to it. Trying to make the thing that you're working at, if it's negative, make it positive. And then do all the rearranging. But in this case, it's all kind of worked out nicely. Are you happy with that? Okay. Now in the next question here, if you're trying to make e the subject, and here we've got to make y the subject, and here we've got to make x the subject. Okay, okay, so let's have a look at these questions here now. We're going to make e the subject in this question. So e is being timed by 5. Have you paid attention? E is timed by 5 here, and then it's been divided by 4. That's going to be a bit messy right here. So that will be the first action, that's the second action. So you have to move the divide by 4 first. Opposite divide by 4 is times by 4. So d times by 4 is equal to 5e. Now, what is the opposite of timesing by 5 now? We're going to move the time by 5 over. Opposite time by 5 is? So, oops, let's get that. Let's put there. So d times by 4 is 4d, and then divide it all by 5. Okay, let's get rid of that. That divide by 5 is not very clear. Looks like an S. Is equal to E. Did you get that? Yeah? 4d over 5. Lovely. Next question. So we have y has been divided by 7. This is the first action. And this plus 1 is the second action. So opposite of adding 1 second action is minus 1. So we have x minus 1 is equal to y over 7. What do we do next? Opposite divide by 7 is, now if you be careful here, when you time by 7, you have to multiply everything by 7. So we use a bracket to indicate the every. And that's the end of that question. Now, x has been timed by 3 is the first action, it's been added by 1 as the second action, and divided by 2 is the third action. I'm not labeling the actions here because they get quite messy, all the numbers everywhere. I'm just telling you orally. Timed by 3 is first action, add 1 is second action, and divide by 2 is the third action. So we always move the last action first. So opposite divide by 2 is timed by 2. So you have 2y is equal to 3x add 1. Now, we have to move the second action, which was the plus 1. Opposite plus 1 is okay, now you've got an extra action in here. That's no problem. Opposite times by 3, move that now. Last but not least, divide by 3. So you have 2y minus 1 divided by 3 is equal to x. 2y minus 1 divided by 3 is equal to x. Okay, let's write that a bit more neatly. It looks a little bit tatty. Not very nice. Okay, minus 1. Okay, let's write that more nicely. 2y minus 1. That looks more cleaner. Beautiful. Okay, folks, thank you for joining me on these questions. I hope I haven't made it too messy. I'll just put some extra lines in here so you can tell what is happening where. Okie dokie, and see you in the next lesson, inshallah. Take it.